All right, you guys, we're in. We're definitely in another episode of West Coast Uncensored TV. We need to start calling this one. Maybe needed to make another channel called West Coast Uncensored TV and stuff. So that would be awesome if we did. Man, thank you guys for the watches on the thing. Is myth a lie? That myth's not a lie, but it's spiritual technology. Gosh darn, that video took off, and thank you. And it brought me to an apex of the most. It brought in me to uh, next level of a lot of. We have some new people here. Thank you, and I thank for the comments of somebody. I think it was Cat Meow. I may not be quoting that right, but thank you, and a couple other quotes for some people, and of course the ones that come up and want to push agendas and go against the truth, because the truth offends those who don't have an ear to hear, and that's fine. We just know it's coming, and definitely don't want to draw them to me, but I know they come. So anybody, because a lot of people can't just scroll by, and when you're not in position to just scroll by, because that takes some inner knowledge, that you have the power not to take every thought and have to worry about agreeing with somebody or disagreeing with them, which usually is really, really anchored in through meditation. And if you don't meditate because you think it's the devil with your dogma and disorganization. But a shout out to somebody that I listened to today just because of their channel. It was nothing deep spiritually on some of your guys' levels and agendas. It was called The Recovering Catholic, and he went into a great video how Catholicism and Christianity has done the most murders through the centuries, have the most bloodshed than any other religious group, and second is the Muslims. And I had known that, but he had did it, and he stops and he goes again into good places, but I could tell he doesn't have the next level, even a it's almost like a beginning, but he'd almost have to be shoved in the beginning. He does say some good things and appreciate him, the recovering Catholic. Kind of just listen to what he said, especially when I'm dealing with some people I know in my family that are from that religion. And half of my family is, I've told you, if you don't know, it'd be the first time hearing. My pops is Mexican, and his side of the family was Catholic. My mom wasn't. She was Protestant, actually Pentecostal, which opened the door for that. But I woke up out of all of them, and now I was this like anti-Christianity because of the programmed Roman Christianity, and I don't uh, grab a hold of any organization like that and make it my joystick. Definitely not, but definitely thank for learning Gnosticism, because it made me understand it in a way before it's manipulated by the powers, which really were all political, all political. So yeah, so appreciate you guys, appreciate the new members, appreciate anybody that's listening and being part of. A shout out to you, and that. So as you see, if you look up on your screen, the name of today's message is about the system and how everything's into closure. But do people see? Do people see? So I'm going to show something, because really what I want to bring out is how everything's really is in full disclosure. I had mentioned it on another video. We had just done Whitney Webb, and I told you I'd follow up more of this. My next video won't be hers, but I was blown away by a contemporary, somebody who I really like in the conscious community. He had an outstanding video, Brother Sanchez, and I think my video after this one is going to be sharing his video from Thursday night. And his video has just really brightened my mind. One of the listeners here that I really love and appreciate with the quality of her understanding and what she brings behind the scenes to this channel, uh, definitely had sent something to me, Patty. And the video really went with what Sanchez was saying. And she didn't hear the Sanchez one unless she's watched it since I've told her about it. but the reality, it kind of goes exactly with what was said in his, except Sanchez takes it to a very, very deeper place that I've kind of have mentioned here multiple times, but never went in depth in. If many who will listen to me all the time will go, "You said that before." I've not did a whole video on it, but I mentioned it. I'll throw those little put down those little hoping to um, um, get your subtle nuances by grabbing a hold of those words that I have said that go harmonize with what Patty had brought out in the video to me and what Sanchez video. Sanchez video will probably be my next, unless something tells me not to with the within. But I'm going to go a little bit on me. This leads, but this does go with the harmonization of Whitney Webb and showing you how Trump is bypassing something that was promised. And many of the people in the MAGA movement who voted for him are not happy because this was promised and they're kind of holding the feet to the fire, and he's getting frustrated with them, calling them stupid and this. But it also just reveals how politics doesn't have truth, doesn't support us, is not what we think it is at all. And Sanchez really hammers it home for what they really, really are. But today I'm going to lead into it by this, because I got something to share for you. And this is a video from Instagram that I would love for you guys to see. And then another writing from Instagram. And when you look at that, you'll go, oh, shoot. Because I mentioned this, not this one, but I've mentioned what stuff Instagram's doing right. I've mentioned that over and over and over and over, what Instagram's doing. Let's see, let's put this up. What Instagram's doing, right? Hopefully we got sound here. I didn't even see. So let's see if we can play this and it will start. Okay. This is a short video, not very long. And I don't think you guys can hear it, huh? Whoa.
Offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information.
Let's play it again, because you missed the first part, and it's not very long, but you'll get the foundation of it here.
Around the same time that John D. Rockefeller seized U.S. media, he also hijacked U.S. medicine. When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught.
That's kind of where we came in. So it was about a minute, maybe. This is the stuff that's being put on Instagram everywhere, and even showing this. And let me go back to our space, and let's stop sharing. My backup's gone. I know what I did wrong. Let me see if I could fix it while we're here. Probably not. Fit. Probably not, but it's okay. I got my background, and I expect that when I don't do certain things. It seems like the sharing of videos does it all the time. But anyways, it's not about that. So we seen right away that this is out. How J.D. Rockefeller took control of modern medicine. This happened in 1915. This is only 125 years ago that this changed. It's modern, really, when you look at time. So before that, everybody used the herbs and nature for their medicine. Also, another statistic is 90% of all diseases are after this year. Yeah, some of the stuff that we see over and over, you got this, and this is a new one. And I don't fall for it because I know it's been quack, quack, quack for a while. But a lot of people have fallen for it and don't know the history. But this is the stuff that's being revealed, that the system just doesn't support us. And it's the truth about it is coming out. How a guy like J.D. Rockefeller, who's kind of the guy over the United States and all its development of control and power by the powers that be that's above him. You know, when you're looking at secret societies, whether they're Illuminati, whether they're Jesuits coming from the Rome or whatever, whomever, the names have been changed and stuff like this. That the Rockefeller Foundation is that 90% of these diseases didn't exist before then, that were created through his modern medicine. Hence people got cancer from there. And then he makes the cancer institution, or the, supporting cancer. That's when you control the narrative and you deceive the people. And then you have them believing stuff that's just not so. Just because you believe something don't make it true. As we see in religion, it's stupid. I mean, those knowers know it. What I say offends people at times. I know, especially when you don't know. I'm not here to play nice. Similar to when some of you coming out of Christian belief, when Jesus, and I had this long talk with this brother the other day. We were talking about Gnosticism in Trap Planet and Prison Planet, and talked about some certain things about this. I do have something to share with you, and this is going to show you how the influence again of the Rockefeller power over the whole United States and Western world, that ends up going everywhere. Everywhere is using this Western medicine. Even the countries that had great medicine for thousands and thousands of years, like China in the East, know better than this, but they fell for the okie doke, because I'm telling you, I believe all governments are together. You take the top notch from the elite from our country and the elite from China, they have more in common with each other than just the citizens. Then the citizens are, I'm going to show you right now through this next clip, are considered their chattel property. But anyways, so all this medicine, all this stuff that comes from Rockefeller Foundation and his influence and power. I mean, he funded the colleges and told me you have to teach this, and they rolled over real quick. And then the doctors who stood firm on what they knew to be true, lost their license, got in prison, and didn't have a job. And this was happening back then. Can you believe that? We've seen this buffoonery in 2019 and 20 with people losing their job, unconstitutional crap. And then we seen all this, and this even happened in the 1915, like a little over 100 years before. History repeats itself. I'm telling you what. When you start seeing this, and you start seeing, which I mentioned scriptures like in the days of Noah, so shall it be, the days of Jonah, it ends up being, what are we dealing with? A simulation, and these things just repeat. And then we were told there's nothing new under the sun, meaning we're going to repeat it again and program your ass again. Because this is where the awakening's got to come up, from the programming and what this reality really serves up and that. So when you finishing with this aspect of the medical, I had to show this Instagram, because it's on Instagram. It's everywhere. It's even new. We have modern doctors telling us everything that happened. If you go to Instagram, Facebook, not so much. If you go to Instagram, it's all over the place, everywhere. And it's not being stopped. It's being out there. Modern doctors. I remember when the vid started in 2019-20, a doctor for young people, he's a doctor, and a real renowned doctor, Peter McCullough, was telling people, don't take this shappy shap boopy boop. And it doesn't make sense. He even said it doesn't make a lick of sense, and he was censored. He's not the only one who was censored. And then the people who deal with coronaries, when they do am I saying it right? The coroners who look at the dead bodies and then go and see the cause of death, are out having having clear, what are they called, mason jar bottles, showing you what this substance look at. And they said, we've never seen this in a dead body in our life until Juby Juby came out. And they're showing it, and it looks like a freaking huge worm, white worm. And I'm like, wow. And they're saying what their experience is, and they're telling the truth. Many tried to tell then, but everybody was silenced, showing that our constitutional rights could go just like that. We get it here. I mean, I like I mentioned just not long ago on TikTok, I just shared a picture of a professional wrestler, and maybe it had music. That could be the thing. And then it told me they can't do it. And I'm like, and then I even told them, I said, everywhere else didn't shut it down. Why are you being taking away my constitutional rights? Because I'm just sorry, I'm not going to play with you. And I will call you putz. I have no problem. And I know in the long run I could be the one, but didn't Jesus call the Pharisees dead sepulchres? Walking around, they were corpses pretending, and they don't allow the people to enter in the kingdom, and neither do they enter in themselves, because they're dead man walking. You're just corpse, you're whitewashed sepulchres, you're programmed, and you're trying to go recruit all these people, and you have nothing good to do. You don't bring nothing. And even said, you're of your father who was a liar from the beginning. And then that's why when I started looking at it, I said, ooh, Gnosticism was correct, because he didn't say your father's my father. He says your father's from the beginning who lied. I ain't got that one. And then Christianity wanted to put that one as being the father of Jesus, but now I see more and more why Gnosticism. No, this is not how this works. And the character of who this is being portrayed in the story, even take the canonized version, and you'll be able to see once you wake up and start seeing things with the eyesight that you can see spiritually. But anyways, back to Rockin' the Feller. Yeah, this guy had so much power, and watch what else he did. They mentioned in the short Instagram video that he, Mr. JD, wow. Now I think about, there was a show in the late 60s called the Beverly Hillbillies, and it was about a story of these back hills, Tennessee people, country folks up in the hills, up in the mountains, the Clampets, the Beverly hillbillies. And he was trying to hunt, shot something, broke the earth, and then he had all kinds of oil came out. And then the story, he became wealthy and rich with the oil, and all his family says, you got to move to California. And he moved to the Beverly Hillbillies, but his name was J.D. Clampett. I just wonder sometimes if the messages definitely have been put even in older show, which I know they have. I've seen them. Just something that just kind of hit me right now. But anyways, here's something else. We're going to share something else. It's the same fella and another fella. You guys know that Gates fella, the one that's from Microsoft that wants to blot out the sun, and definitely lives in a city called Seattle. And he was about the juby jabby jabby around the world. And also he's one that lives in a city, Seattle, with the biggest needle in it. Make sense. But anyway, let's share this. We're going to go into something that I've actually did a video. I just want to show you what's happening. The general board meeting, I call it the 1907 one. It better have 1907, because when I looked it up, it doesn't show up like it used to be. See, this is talking about 1902. The general board in 1903. No, you need to give me the 2007 edition, which it may not now. It may be gone. Wow. Let's see. The philosophy. Let's see if the philosophy is the same. Yes. Okay. 2007. See, they're trying to hide this. This used to be more wide open. It didn't mention 2002. It didn't mention 2003. It didn't mention any of this. It mentioned the 2007 board meeting, which they had, where now we hijacked the education system everywhere. As you've seen in 2015, one of the mentions in the video earlier was him taking control of the universities and funding them and telling them, you have to teach this modern medicine that I'm developing, what Rockefeller medicine system, right? petroleum. We've seen that. It was made out of petroleum. It caused diseases that didn't live before then. And then he tried to hijack it again by creating the Cancer Society, like he supports, and whoop, whoop, whoop. And this is what these dudes do when they control the narrative. They're demons, really. And they will look out for nobody's good. And then they'll play then they'll turn around and act like they support everything that is good. This is when you create the problem, then you try to be the savior of the problem, but really you're the one that caused the problem because you're controlling the narrative. But watch this. If you go into this, you see that I seen 1907 foundation. Here's a philosophy. In our dream, we have limitless resources of people that yield themselves with perfect docility. They want you docile as heck to a working molding hand, meaning we're going to program your butt and we're going to keep you docile because we don't want you to, and it's going to show you what they don't want. The present education conventions fade in their minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work out our own goodwill upon a grateful, responsive rural folk. We shall not make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning. They don't want you, or men of science. We have not raised up them to be authors, editors, poets, men of letters. We shall not search for embryo great artists, painters, musicians, nor lawyers, doctors, preachers, politicians, statesmen whom have an ample supply. The task we set about ourselves is simple, as well as a very beautiful one, to train these people to find them with perfectly ideal life just where they are. So we will organize our children into a little community to teach them to do the perfect things their fathers and mothers were doing, and in perfect homes and shops. They remove stuff. This was not like this before, folks. They really changed it, which I'm blown away. If you go into my wow, I'm blown away that let me see. I'm going to put this one more time in here. School board meeting, because it told you what they don't want, but in the philosophy before, it told you why they didn't want it. See, now it's saying it doesn't exist. It used to be in here. And how I know it used to be in here, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why it's not in here no more. I'm going to tell him to stop sharing now. Blown away. I didn't check this before I got here. I thought it would be there. Go on my videos, because I have a video on the past of the 1907 school board meeting using Wikipedia that has all the information on it. It does. And it shows what you've seen of the philosophy, what they don't want. Right? Have you seen that? What they don't want. They don't want philosophers, educated. And it didn't finish off everything here anymore. That's left out because it actually mentions the fact that they want you as animal husbandry. And that word is mentioned in the old one. Wow, these suckers removed it. Boy, we know what Rockefeller is now. You're not hiding him from us, but a lot of ones who don't know will never know now. But if you go watch my old video, which was maybe a year ago, I did the whole school board meeting, a whole video on the school board meeting. It is there. And if it's not taken down off my video, which I don't know that it has been, I don't think so, but it is a ways back. Like I said, a year, maybe even longer, it's there. And the proof when you go in the philosophy, it makes you go, wow. Chattel? Animal husbandry? Says it. It did. They removed it and says it, and you see, oh, it's not here. No, it was there, you lying sacks. But that's what they do. On some things, it's full disclosure. But that was there on this video. On my videos, which go back, you can find it if it's not been taken down. I may search it out after this to find out, to make sure it's still there. But another one is when you look at this, you see that they do say they don't want you to be above free thinkers. That's meant no philosophers, meaning we want you to do what we want you. We just want you to be followers and follow us as we lead you, because you are our chattel. our cattle, and we're your herdsmen, we're your pastors, we have you in your pens, and we're your animals, and we lead you, and you don't think for yourself, is really what they were saying. That's the school system that he brought out in 1907. And that's why 1915 they could tell the college by, and then he gives them some money not to do something, and they roll over like a wimp. And many who fought were, you see, or you heard the story, those who fought it and knew it wasn't truth, who stood up, good-hearted people, those were righteous ones. They lost their job and were fired. And that, reminds me a lot of 2019 when people stood up against the powers that be, and many lost their jobs because they weren't willing to take something illegal and unconstitutional. And there still needs to be a comeuppance for that. I mean, a harsh one. I mean, kicking heads off. That, really. But anyways, yeah. So we already know, we see the medical 1915, the board meeting 1917 that they took down. And it already says in the 1915, he hijacked the universities and told them, don't teach the medicine you've been teaching for thousands of years, the things that do heal and work. Oh, yeah. I'm fired up about this when I realize the reality. And then I see so many sleepy ones still sleepy. And you awakened ones. You're awesome. But know what's going on and what we're dealing with and how we're dealing with it, right? That this time there's so much. Go to Instagram. If you're going to get somewhere, go to Instagram. It's all there. Even what's happening now. I mean, Instagram is going to the point where they're the doctors and some people talking to that the studies, they're doing the studies that were done saying that all your former vaccines caused the A word in the children. Yeah. Which doesn't surprise me one bit. I'm 63. I remember in the 80s, and I'm going to close with this. In the 80s, on MTV, they did Rock Against Autism, and it was like 1 in 100,000. We're now, 1 in every 9, 10? That's not normal change. That's hijack changed. Somebody's had their hands in the cookie jar. And of course, we know who the players are, a lot of them. But what Whitney Webb will show you in the videos that we just seen, how the players that you don't know that aren't the main actors are connected to the main actors, whether it was the politicians on the left or right are in bed with them, same ones. So if they're in bed with this one, the right, and then the left's in bed with the same one, guess what? They're all in bed together. Same penny, same quarter, same dime, just the other side. Facts are facts, but you got to wake up and quit being because the whole thing's hijacked. Your education, I'm going to say, your educational system, really, it's not education. That's why people are running around saying boys can have babies. Educational system, the programming it's a programming center. Rockefeller did it with the meds. That was just the beginning. Then you have you go back and even read, and I do have this Albert Pike's book called Morals and Dogma, shows you their plans from the Russian Revolution all the way through now. And when you go through now, you go, everything that's in this book has happened. I'm just being honest. We're behind the game, but we're also in the game because we're connected to the all, to the right. And I'm not talking political, to the good. We want good for humanity. We don't want all this division and them against us. That's why they keep us divided, because they keep us, they're masters at dividing and conquering. And if you delete the dividing, they have nothing to stand on. They're open shamed, and they're already open shamed to many of us. But you guys have a great day. I am going to follow up, I believe, with Sanchez's video, which will harmonize and go right with this, but take it to a level. Woo! I seen, but haven't totally said yet. But I'm going to let him say it. Some of it. It is a 2.5 hour video. I definitely know I'm not going to do it all at one time. For me, it would be 3 or 4 times, but I may be doing 1 or 2 out of it. I don't know if I'll do it all. But you guys have a great, wonderful day, and keep informed, but keep the pressure and take responsibility within. Your expansion is within. Your knowledge is within, and have a great day.